Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother***ing ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I am Chris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Wobbly Joystick Dan Ryan.
Okay, so a stoner, a Jedi, and a surgeon walk into a bar. It's blunt force trauma. Alright, that's it for the 420 jokes.
We've got some scheduling stuff coming up, so we're hitting the 10, 20, 30, 40 a little early this month, and it's a doozy. But can anything truly top the masterpiece that is Sneak and Peek for the Atari 2600? Don't sink it to the floor because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now.
It's such a weird game.
Hi, everyone. This is episode 420, the week of July 22nd, 2022. Dan and I are not stoned, but just on our behalfs, make a bunch of 420 jokes on Friday when this episode goes live.
Yeah, even though it won't be 420 anymore. But still make the jokes.
No, but this is episode 420, so it'll be 420 whenever you listen
to it. See, that's how high I am right now. I didn't even catch what you were talking about. No, I'm not high, Chris. How dare you? Do I still look high? You ever see Friday? That movie's fucking great. Anyway. Sorry, I'm in a good mood this week, Chris, because my face doesn't hurt, so, I'm excited to record a podcast as opposed to last week. I was like, everything sucks.
I don't want to chew food.
Yeah. Yay, root canals.
Well, I'm glad your dental hygiene has improved.
It has. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered, things are kind of sort of moving in a less disastrous direction, theoretically. We did AVGC over the weekend, and we both made out really well.
That's
Karen
awesome.
Sold a bunch of art, and I sold a bunch of my old crap. I did not sell Aero Fighters. I wasn't the only one doing what I did with Aero Fighters, though. So I went in and I priced it at $3,500 because I didn't actually want to sell it. But if somebody wanted to spend $3,000 on it, I would have let them have it.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
And I met another guy who had the same situation. He had a couple of the super high-end N64 games. He was like, yeah, I kind of priced them really high because I don't want to get rid of them, but if somebody wants to offer me the money, I have a price. So.
Yeah. Like the $1 Million Man says, Chris, everybody's got a price.
Well, I certainly do when it comes to letting go of Aero Fighters, but unfortunately it just didn't happen. I did, however, sell True Lies. Somebody bought it for $110.
That is absurd.
Absolutely amazing, and they were happy to do it. So I sold all of my old Guitar Hero guitars.
Shit, how much do those go for?
I didn't even care. I sold them for $5 a piece.
I was gonna say, I got a ton of those.
I did too. Now I just have 2 PS2 ones left, and that's all I want. If I'm gonna go back to play Guitar Hero, it's gonna be 1 and 2, and those are on PS2 because those are the ones that I'm nostalgic for, and that's that. So I have 2 PS2 working ones, and that's it. That's all I need. All the rest of them, I had Wii ones. I had 2 complete Tony Hawk shred.
Oh God, why?
Let those go for $5 because it was either me or the garbage, and for the longest time, that's how I did things. If you're gonna throw away, then I'll let it roll around in my attic for a couple of years and see what happens. So I got rid of all that. I went with 3 bins, giant bins, just absolutely stuffed to the gills with garbage, and I came back with 1.
Wow.
Actually, no, I had 4. Because I came back with 3 empty bins. So yeah, I had 4 bins of garbage, and I came back with 1 bin of garbage. So I sold 3 bins of garbage.
That's crazy.
It was pretty crazy. I feel really good about it. It was a very, very successful weekend, and we can theoretically, with that money, have a little bit of breathing room this month and fix the air conditioning.
And not have to turn to OnlyFans until next month.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the AC breaks, then we'll only have fans. So, yeah. Oh, goodness man, gracious. I'm sure somebody has it, but now I really want to open up an OnlyFans account that's just fans.
I mean, that has to happen.
Just oscillating fans, non-oscillating, just all kinds of fans. Somebody must have done that already. I don't want to do the search because I feel like I'm going to run into something I don't want to, but I feel like that's a really...
I mean, I'll do the research, Chris.
Please do.
My browser history is already cloudy as fuck. So, like, let's not pretend that we're somebody that we're not here. We're among friends.
Well then, Dan, you have your mission. Find me OnlyFans.
All right, that'll be tomorrow's mission. I'll drop the link in the chat.
Fucking glorious.
Why are you looking at porn? Chris made me. He told me I had to. He's the boss.
Well, Dan, we have a massive 10, 20, 30, 40 to discuss. And I also have a lot of games that I have a lot of feelings about. So, do you have anything going on you want to discuss this week?
I finally I posted a picture as proof on the Discord, but I this weekend I said enough is enough, and it's time for a change. And I am going to finally conquer Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And I did. I got the decision victory the first time. And it's still not against Tyson, so I still have to do that. But I was playing on an emulator on my PC, and I'm sitting there and I'm playing. I'm like, man, I feel like I can do this. You know, I was getting into
Mr. Dream and Tyson are functionally identical. It's
sure,
it's just visuals.
I know, but still, the visual to me is somewhat important. As silly as that may be, but playing through it on the emulator against Tyson, I was getting to like the third round, and I kept losing decisions because I kept getting hit by shit. I'm like, I know I'm dodging this correctly. Like I've got the timing down. I've got the pattern down. I'm getting through the first minute and 30 seconds without getting hit. Like I know that I can do this. I have to go up and do it on the TV, and that bums me out because it's not Tyson, it's Mr. Dream. But I went up on the TV, and first shot against Mr. Dream, I got the decision victory, and I was like, all right, that's pretty good. But I am going to get the TKO or the knockout, and I got the TKO a few hours later, and was very, very, very happy about that because that is something I've never done up until this past.
A lot of people have never done. It's a hell of an accomplishment. Well done.
It's really fucking hard.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
It is absurdly difficult. That is no easy task.
Now that I've gotten
the leading up
it,
to him, like the difference between Super Macho Man and Tyson is like insane.
It really is. I feel like Super Macho Man was easier than Sandman for me. Anyway, I don't know if that's how a lot of people feel. I certainly felt that way though.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I can't remember who I had more trouble with. I know Sandman's got that whole, like, you know, you got to smack him in the face and then in the stomach, and if you mess up the dodge on the triple uppercuts, like, you're kind of screwed. But those spin punches with Macho Man, you know, they can catch you real quick.
Yeah, I lost on Sandman a bunch of times. And I think I lost like 2 times against Macho Man. And I was like, oh, no, I got this. I see what I got to do here. And, like, had no problem getting past him. And on the emulator as well. Like, which I'm playing the emulator with a wired DualShock 4 connection. So it's like, you know, it's a little weird playing Punch-Out on a PlayStation 4 controller through a PC emulator that it just wasn't responsive enough to get through Tyson. Like, all right, I'm doing it. And maybe it was just a mental thing. I don't know. But whatever.
As far as mental things go, I mean, Macho Man makes me nervous. I don't know why. Like, he's the one who makes me nervous. Whenever I get to him, I get nervous, and I always take like 1 or 2 hits that I don't need to when playing against Macho Man.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've seen me beat Tyson before, so like that's one of those things that I only get nervous when I do it in front of a bunch of people. But
yeah, I definitely do not think I could do it in front of people. Like, I don't think that is something that I could do. I'm relatively confident in saying that. Like, I took a picture, like, I fucking did it. I'm not making it up, but I don't know that that's something I'd be like, yeah, I'm totally confident doing this, you know, like if we ever do Pete-a-thon again or whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely it definitely makes me nervous. I've pulled it off, but I always make some sort of stupid mistake when I do it.
Always get knocked down by Tyson at least once, you know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I tend to always take one punch in the opening flurry. Like, I'll always wind up taking one punch, get a knockdown like once, then get back up on one and be like, all right, I got this from here.
All right.
He always takes me down once.
You always have to get fucking punched in the mouth once, Chris. Everybody knows that. That's how life works.
How I roll.
I know that it is. I know indeed that it is how you roll. But no, I decided to do that because earlier in the week, I went to the I told you, I don't know how much of it made it into the podcast because I don't listen to the podcast. But I told you the whole rigmarole and runaround that I had to go through with my tooth and going to the dentist and all that stuff. So I went to get the root canal on Tuesday morning, or went to see if the guy would do the root canal, and he did, and it was fine. And like, root canals are really not as bad as people make them out to be. They're not fun. Like, it's not something that I want to go do, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So I came home. Tiff was working. I came home. She had to cover a shift. She usually has off on Mondays, but it's whatever. I'm here. I'm beating Batman. I haven't beat Batman. Like, I don't remember if I ever beat it as a kid. I think I did. But it's just one of those games where it's like, fuck, I got to beat this too. So I went and beat the NES Batman, and that felt really good too. Like, that game is not as hard as we make it out to be. Like, it's still hard, but what's weird about it is that there's such a distinct timing in the NES Batman game that once you master that timing, you can make it through. Like, that final level is so platforming heavy, and if you mess up the platforming, it's like, all right, well, I'm just going to take a bunch of hits now and die. But if once you get that really specific weightedness to the timing of the platforming, it gets to be relatively easy to make it through the stages. And then the last two, like the last bosses, are just stand in the corner and fucking spam batarangs. Like, and then when you fight Joker and he's got the big lightning bolt thing, like, you jump over it and just spam the hell out of your batarangs, jump over it again, because if he hits you like 3-4 times, you're done. But you can pretty easily dodge his shit and then duck between the lightning bolts and jump over like the wave thing that he throws at you. And it's really not all that bad. I was like, all right, sweet. I got Batman and Punch-Out down in the same week.
Nice.
Comic Zone the week before. I don't know. What other hard game should I beat this week, Chris?
You should beat Battletoads.
All right, I'll fucking do Battletoads this week. I don't know why I'm on the like hard game thing, but that's what I'm on. So
well,
I did
best
those.
Of luck to you.
Yeah, well, I'll post pictures. I'll let you know how it goes. I did those two things, and then over the weekend, Rumblemans posted a team comp for Puzzle and Dragons. There's this relatively difficult challenge that they had. The Sure Realm 3 is one of like the end game dungeons currently, and there was a timed challenge to beat it within a half hour, so it's harder than the usual version of Sure 3. plus with the added pressure of the time limit, I was like, all right, fuck. Well, I'm going to do this too, because I skipped it the first time. I didn't have one of the leads that was really good for it, but I had a really good Daytona team. I had pulled Obi-Wan when the Star Wars collab was going on, which was like the key piece that North America had been missing for Daytona for so long. So pulling him, I was like, all right, there's no reason not to do this. And with Rumble Mins' suggestion of the team that he posted, I was like, oh shit, I can pretty much do that team. Got to make like one or two little substitutions and figure out my way through it. And I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. So I finally made my way through that too. It was an excellent gaming weekend of, I'm going to sit here and get some hard shit accomplished and then go grind out the rest of the summer program in the show, which I did that as well. It was busy, Chris. It was busy. Finished The Boys, started Miss Marvel, went to see Thor today.
Oh, we haven't seen it yet. Really want to, but haven't had the time.
I am really, really curious as to what you're going to think about it.
I can't imagine I won't enjoy it.
No, you're definitely going to enjoy it. I'm really curious. I definitely, once that movie comes out, I think we should, when the next time we run out of ideas for this podcast, I think we should do the ranking episode like we do for video games, but do it with the Marvel movies, because I'm really curious as to what your tier list would look like if we have. I mean, that might be a 6-episode fucking journey.
Yeah, there's a lot of MCU now, but
yeah, I'm really curious as to where this would place in your personal pantheon.
Yeah, I haven't ranked them in a little while now. I should.
What's your number one? I know this is completely off topic, but
probably first Avenger.
Really?
I'm a huge fan of. I mean, Rocketeer is one of my favorite movies, and
of course,
this is Joe Johnson doing fucking Captain America comics. I love that movie. It's so much fun. It kind of puts me in my happy place. Plus, Agent Carter.
No,
is wonderful.
I don't disagree with that selection. I find it interesting. I think you and I are among the few, and maybe I'm wrong, but everything I've read online leads me to believe otherwise. I would also put a Captain America movie at number 1, but I would put Winter Soldier at number 1.
Oh, Winter Soldier's super high up there.
I fucking
I don't
love
think that I
movie.
could argue with you that it's a better movie, but if we're just talking personal taste, I like period pieces, so
sure,
like that just puts it over the top for me. Plus, Captain America. I'm a great fan of your films. Like, it's just yes.
There's a lot of don't get me wrong.
Perfect.
I love First. I would probably go. First Avenger is probably in my top 5. Like all 3 Cap movies are in my top 5. I think because I think Civil War would be number 2.
Civil War is high up there too. But I don't know what else to put around it. This is such a conversation.
I fucking adore it. Underoos, so fucking good, so good.
That is really good.
Oh my god.
Motorcycle chase scene through the tunnel and whatnot, or delicious.
Yeah.
How far are you into Miss Marvel?
First 3 episodes.
Okay.
Cool. So 3 left.
Cool. Have you been spoiled on it?
No, not at all.
Oh, wonderful. Then
no, I avoid the internet.
Good. Yeah.
Again, only just fans. That's all I look at. I look at fans all day.
Just only fans.
Only fans. That's it. It's really about it. It's fans and pad news. Well, really, my interneting is it's boobs, pad, and Yankees shit, or baseball cards. That's really about what I do on the internet. I try to avoid the rest of the cesspool.
Probably a solid idea.
That is the World Wide Web. And don't get me wrong, a lot of it still filters through. You know what I mean? Because there are things in the world that are just so egregious that, it's well, fuck, if the porn star is talking about this, god damn, this is probably important.
I need to look into this.
You know what I mean? Not that porn stars are not intelligent, legitimate, professional, whatever. but it's not usually what their content is.
Yeah.
It's not why I clicked that button. So, Anyway.
Well, hooray.
The Boys was really good. I really loved it. You were 100% correct at the finale of that show. Was like, fuck, that is exactly what would happen, and I hate it.
Exactly what would happen. So gross.
And I hate it. It's so gross. It's so gross. But so accurate. I can't wait for the next season.
But yeah, same here. And I very much enjoyed Miss Marvel. I thought it was pretty great. It's it definitely skews a bit younger as far as like the aesthetic goes. I found it wholly entertaining because I have no problem suspending my disbelief, especially for things that seem to be geared toward a younger audience. But
I think it's outstanding so far.
Yeah, I just think it's wonderful, and I was very happy with I'm not so connected to her in the comics that the change in her powers bothers me, and I thought there was a really good kind of wrap up of all that stuff by the end. So I'm very curious to hear your take on what you think about everything at the end of once you're done with it, because some pretty major things are revealed at the end of it. So
I'm really curious to see where they go with it, because like I get the pushback of she's not an Inhuman and like what the fuck is this, and like now she's just Green Lantern, but like I'm all right with that. At least in the first 3 episodes.
I feel like they got the heart of the character right, and that was what was important. So
how she makes her arms stretchy doesn't really matter to me. Mm-hmm. As much as like the who the character is. I love the attention to detail. I love the fact that it is embracing Muslim culture, and the fact that people are. I did see a couple articles over the last couple of weeks of like, so the first time I ever heard about partition was on the Miss Marvel show, and I was like,
same here.
Well, you fuckers need to read books more.
I do need to read books more, but they never taught me that shit in school, so.
I think that's so awesome that they are like not only having this really cool, interesting superhero show, but that they're actually teaching people like legitimate shit. Like that's really, really awesome. Yeah, the amount of people who do not know that India and Pakistan are touching on the map, guarantee you, is more than people who do know. Yeah, at least in this country, anyway. So if people can learn from something like this, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was. I was very happy with it, and I was happy with what I learned about it. I was happy with everything about it. Just enjoyed the darn show.
Yeah, right on.
And I want to talk more about it, but I can't because you haven't finished it yet.
No, I know. I will definitely be finished by next week, though. So
awesome! I look forward
to which we won't. Anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
We'll talk in 2 weeks.
Anyway, we'll talk in 2 weeks about it on the show, or talk about it off the show because we do a video game podcast.
That's right.
All right. Let me rein this in here. I was bummed over the 4th of July weekend that there was a huge sale on the Atari VCS shop where every Atari published game was 50% off. But I wasn't home for 4th of July weekend, so I missed it. But then somebody in the Atari VCS Discord had a coupon code, and so I was able to pick up both Gravatar Recharged and Black Widow Recharged.
Oh, nice.
Now, I'm not familiar with the originals of either of these. Like, I know of them, but I've never played the original Black Widow or the original Gravatar, so I really didn't know what I was getting into, but those two in particular I had heard so many good things about. Like, no, these games are freaking awesome. So, first one I tried was Black Widow Recharged, and I can confirm it is, in fact, awesome. It's like
awesome.
It's very Geometry Wars-ish. Like, it's a twin-stick shooter, except you're limited to moving around on this web, and so a lot of what happens in the game, like you're shooting all these different enemies and collecting little money signs, but also these things come up that impede your path. So like these thicker webs will get in your way that you can't climb around, so you have to like kind of work your way around them to blow them up, or blow up things near them to blow them up, and you can get like, special weapons and things like that. So it reminds me a lot of Geometry Wars in that respect. Just because of the way it moves and the way it looks, obviously, because the Recharge games all have that Geometry Wars kind of look to them. But it's really freaking fun. I've spent a decent amount of time with it. I mean, it's a simple arcade game, so when I say a decent amount of time, I mean like probably like a half an hour or so. But, half hour, 45 minutes, that's a bunch of games. I've played it a lot of times. And I'm not great at it, but I was having fun the whole time. Gravatar, on the other hand, was a real surprise to me. Took me a minute to kind of figure it out, but so I was playing it with the regular controller, and then I decided to switch over to the joystick for Gravatar, which I thought turned out to be a really good idea. The joystick controls work really well for Gravatar because have you ever played this game? You know anything about Gravatar?
God, I mean, I must have at some point.
So you have this. It's all these kind of like gravity based mission things. Like, so you're this little ship and you fly around this giant sun, and then you can go to these planets that are in orbit, and the planets will give you like a specific mission. It'll be like, find these blueprints and the gravity will work this specific way on this specific planet. Then you just got to move your ship around, like, because the gravity is different no matter where you go. So you kind of have to get used to each planet's individual gravity when you get there, and then figure out how to get through the planet safely, accomplish the task, and then get back into the solar system and find another planet and do something else.
I'm looking it up now. I have definitely played this. I was never good at it.
I mean, I've definitely never played the original Gravatar before. I think the 2600 version of Gravatar was, was it? No, where is Gravatar for video game?
Yeah, Gravatar is 2600.
Yeah, so there's an arcade version, which I've never seen the arcade version before, and the 2600 version I think was super limited release. Silverbox Gravatar was originally only available to Atari Club members. It was later sold in stores in limited quantities, and then released a red box and label style in large quantities. So the Silverbox one's hard to come by, but yeah, never played the 2600 or the arcade version, so this was a big surprise to me. And it was really, really fun. I had a ball with this one. I was super, super excited about it. And I'm looking forward to playing it more. I spent probably another half hour, 45 minutes or so with this one. John was watching me play it too. He thought it was really interesting. And it makes really good use of the joystick. So I like it when
that's
that
awesome.
happens. I was having a conversation with somebody. No, go ahead.
I'm looking at some screenshots for some screenshots. Yeah. For the Recharged right now. That does look really cool.
Yeah, it's got a really nice look to it. It's kind of relaxing but intense at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not like the other Recharged ones, which are all action and kind of in your face. This one's a little bit more laid back and like got to pay closer attention to what you're doing, kind of thing. I really, really enjoyed it. I was having some conversations with some people about the joystick today because some people in Atari Age on Facebook found my Atari VCS video that I did for Stone Age Gamer.
Oh, nice.
I was like scrolling through Facebook today and I saw my video and I was like, oh, that's weird that it's showing up. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody found this organically. That doesn't know me.
Oh, wait, that's me.
They're posting about it and they don't know me. This is weird. And then I was reading through the comments and everyone was being nice.
That's awesome.
Not saying like, oh, this video is great, but like they were all being mean to each other, obviously, but nobody was being like, this guy's a jackass. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So that really warmed my heart. I jumped into the comments and followed up on a few points that I made in the video. There's a handful of people that are like, no, the Atari VCS is the greatest thing ever and can do no wrong. And then there's other people who are like, it's the worst piece of shit on the planet and everything's horrible. And it's like, it's really somewhere in the middle, guys. Like, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, like it's definitely not the best thing ever.
No,
like that is objectively not true. But it's also not the Amico, which is probably objectively the worst thing ever.
Because it doesn't exist.
Because it doesn't exist. Like the Amico, and I'm not even saying that to bash on the Amico. Like the Amico, the Chameleon, like it's not in that tier.
No, it's not. Because it's real, it exists, and it functions. But the issues that I've had with the joystick were what a lot of people were kind of arguing about. Like, there were people that saw the person who posted it said they saw the video and they were like, this is a bummer because what I really wanted was that joystick. That's what really attracted me to it. And now seeing it in motion on here, like, it doesn't work as well as I'd want it to. And that's kind of a bummer. And then that's where the conversations went from there. But
right.
And I was talking about, like, Missile Command Recharge. Like, it just doesn't work with that joystick. It just doesn't. Like, the dead zone is too big and the twisty stick is, like, kind of crummy. Like, it kind of works, but it works well enough for stuff like asteroids, but for things that you want to do fine-tuned moving on, like Breakout, it just doesn't cut the mustard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've spent some more time with my VCS, and the trailer for Yars Recharged came out, which looks really freaking good. So
that does look really good.
I'm stoked to pick that up, and Atari 50, and I'm probably going to get them on my VCS. Atari 50 I'll probably wind up getting on the Switch and the VCS, depending on how good it is. But
yeah,
it seems like I have to get that stuff for the VCS. I just have to. So,
I mean, if it's an option, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not too expensive, but as long as I can afford it at the time, then yeah, I kind of have to. Like, it just seems like it's so perfectly built for that system, and hopefully I can get. I feel like if I can just get the twistiness on the twisty stick working right, then I'll be totally set on my VCS, because I'll just use it for things that use the twist. I just need to find a way to lubricate the actual stick itself, because there's something about it that's just too... I keep coming back to the word sticky, but that's not right, because it's not like there's soda in it or something. It's just like the plastic itself is rubbing against itself in a way that makes it not smooth to turn.
Sure.
But I was talking to somebody on Discord today about opening it up, and he sent me this YouTube video, and apparently, like, this thing is super complicated on the inside, so it's making me nervous about opening it up. I don't know, I'll figure it out. Back over to the Switch, I finished Spider Soars, which was the one that I started playing with John for review.
Yeah.
It's a way forward game. It's got a really great personality. It's not an amazing game, which is kind of a bummer.
I've been looking at that. Like, I browsing through the shop this week. I came across that a couple times, and I was like, man, I hope Chris finishes it and tells me to get it.
Nah, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, I'm not recommending it, but, like, it's fine. It's just, like, it's all personality, but the levels, the problem is that your characters always feel way underprepared for the situation. Like,
okay.
Contra is, it's a game just like Contra, right?
Right.
It's a run and gun game, but, like, unlike Contra or even Cuphead, just learning the patterns and dodging them isn't quite enough, because your weapons all suck. Every weapon in the game sucks. So every creature that you're fighting takes a lot of hits, way more than it should for a run and gun game, because it means that you are constantly stopping to stand there and then dodge things while you're shooting this thing with your little pea shooter that's going for way too long, and it just completely destroys the pacing of the game and doesn't make it feel good. The weapons are awful and they don't feel good to use. There was exactly one weapon with the girl character that I liked using, and it was this pink thing that turns into a wave beam if you can power it up. But if you get hit, then that weapon is gone, and then you're back to your regular pea shooter, which is awful. Like, even in Contra, your regular weapon is usually enough to still feel like you can tackle what you got to get through. You know, because most things, you shoot them once or twice or a couple of times and they disappear. But in this game, it's like, not only is it hard to hit them with your weapons, but you got to sit there and hit them real slow. And most of the weapons you get are just garbage. They're like really, really slow, like boom, boom, boom. And then you can't get new weapons because there's this huge reload time between every single shot. There's like a weapon that just bounces around on the ground. Like, well, that's neat for the 4 enemies that are coming right at you from straight ahead, but most things are attacking you from the sky, and it can't shoot upwards. It shoots in a really low arc and then bounces around on the ground. So that weapon is useless.
Yeah.
Most of the weapons don't feel good to use, and that is such a huge drawback.
Well, that's such a huge part of those games.
It is. You've got to feel like you're doing damage, and you don't. And everything else about it is great. And that's why it's such a huge bummer that one aspect sucks, because every single other thing about it is great. Like, I like the enemy designs. I do wish that's not true. Not everything else about it is great, because you have to fight this one boring boss 3 times. And the last boss, besides the secret boss, is also the first boss, which is the coolest design in the entire game, which is the T-Rex tarantula. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that thing is so cool looking.
The thing's amazing looking. And that's easily the coolest design in the game. And there are a couple other cool bosses, but by the end of the game, you have to fight this cockroach dude 3 times. And he's basically the same fight all 3 times, except he gets a few more moves each time. He's really boring looking. And, like, why? Why am I fighting this? Like, I get the joke. He's a cockroach. He keeps coming back. That's the joke. And
that's
it's
hysterical.
about dinosaurs and stuff. It's very funny, but I really wanted more Spider-Saurs. I wanted more variety in the enemies, because it's such a great idea. So, like,
and it just looks so cool,
right? The art direction is great. The character designs are hilarious. The main villain, this is not a spoiler, because, like, she's the main scientist who's like in charge of this whole thing. Her name is Erica Soares, and Erica is spelled like Araca, Aracha, and Soares is spelled like Saurus. Like, yeah, she's a bad guy.
Yeah, for sure.
She's a Spider-Saur. It says in her name. It's hilarious.
It's like,
she winds
it's
up
literally right there
into the real last boss and everything in the end. But it's all great, except for the one most important thing. Like, I could have forgiven the lack of extra things. It just doesn't feel good to play. You feel slow. You don't feel like you can maneuver well enough to get around all of the stuff that's on the screen at all times coming to get you. And your weapons don't feel good. All of them suck. There's no, like, the spread gun is single fire. Like, the fastest you can fire the spread gun is pew, 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 pew. Like, that's not fast enough to do anything. So if you got the spread gun and you're just doing that single shot, and you are up against a dinosaur that takes 10 to 15 shots, now if you're doing that in Contra, you can blow that out in like 1, maybe 2 seconds. But in this one, you're standing there for like 15 or so seconds, just firing spread shot after spread shot, trying to get rid of this one thing that's in your way. And everything grinds to a halt while you're trying to survive an onslaught of bullets and enemies shooting you from every direction. It's just that one thing. It needed better weapons to make you feel stronger. And I understand that the idea is to make it difficult, but it doesn't seem like it's making it difficult in a fun way. Now, there's already, the day it came out, there was already YouTube videos of people doing, perfect hitless runs. So maybe this is just me, but I don't think it is. I've spent a lot of time playing Contra and running guns over the years, and I've never beaten Cuphead, but I damn sure appreciate that game.
Right.
And it never makes me feel like the tools that I have are inadequate. It never makes me feel like I'm never bored playing it, because I just can't wait to get past this thing. Like, all right, I just have to execute this a little bit longer to get to the next thing. It always keeps me engaged, because everything that I'm doing is moving at a proper pace, and Spider-Saurs just doesn't feel that way. And it bums me out.
I wonder if that's something they might address with a patch, like a game balancing patch at some point.
I suppose it's possible. I
would be surprised if it's something quicker.
I would be surprised, but I would be super welcome if that happened. But I would be surprised. It would be awesome. I know they have it in them. Contra 4 is amazing. I was really, really excited for this one, and it's not, like I said, it's not bad. It just like sits right there in that like 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like a 6.
Yeah, the 6 is
and with Way Forward, you want better.
Yeah, exactly. With Way Forward, I want and expect better. But, so after we finished Spider-Saurs, which John has been kind of obsessed with just because it's Spider-Saurs, come on, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
I was explaining it to him, and then I just booted up Contra. I was like, look, this is Contra 3, The Alien Wars, and this is what I'm going to show you. This is what I'm talking about. And like he got it. He understood what I was talking about. Like when he saw the spread gun in Contra 3, he was like, wow, that's way better. Oh, the regular gun was like a machine gun. And then I went back to original NES Contra and I showed him that one. I was like, see, even this works better than your regular gun in Spider Swords, because even this regular bullshit gun with enough skill, I can still blow through this. Spider Swords, your regular gun is just, it's just like throwing peas at him. It's nothing.
It's just the hottest of garbage.
Yeah, it's just a mountain of bullshit. So
that really
was a
sucks.
letdown. But I did get to play some Contra, and that was fun. We're still rocking the Portal 2 co-op campaign. It's slow going because we don't have a ton of time to play it, and John doesn't always just want to play Portal 2.
Sure.
Like, he wants to play other things, but we did a bunch of it today. We're on the third area. I don't know how many areas are in the co-op mode, but we just started the third area.
I forget. I haven't done it in so long. It's so good.
It is so good. Magnificent. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Not much more to say about it. It's just, it continues to be great. Let's see. Pokemon Puzzle League showed up on N64 Online.
I saw that.
That's nice. That's a great addition. I never expected that to show up on there. But I mean, I guess if Pokemon Snap can. It's like, what's weird about Pokemon Puzzle League is that that's the one game that's directly linked to the TV show. Like, it has Ash and all the voice actors doing their thing, and it's like that's pretty weird, but pretty cool. I played a little bit of that tonight. It's Puzzle League. Nothing wrong with that.
That's not nothing.
That's not nothing at all. It's a good Puzzle League game. I just hate all the sounds. I'm not a Pokemon fan. I don't like the music. I hate Ash saying, "I'm gonna win" every 5 seconds, but whatever. We had a good time at AVGC. I think I talked about that already. There was a booth that was selling a couple of records. Crap, I don't have them written down. I left their business card in my wallet, but they were selling. I saw them when I came in, and they're the ones who released the Blossom Tales soundtrack on vinyl. This is going to tell me what they are. Where is it? What company released this? Respawn Records? Is that it? That doesn't... Yeah, Respawn Records. That sounds about right.
I was going to say, that sounds right.
So, Respawn Records was there, and they had the Blossom Tales soundtrack that I was looking at like, I like that a lot. I'm not here to spend money, I'm here to make money. So I stopped. But they also had this record that I really wanted to buy, and again, I talked myself out of it because I wasn't there to spend money. They had Battletoads, which is an all-metal Battletoads cover album.
That's pretty awesome.
It was awesome. I found it online when I came home. So I have wow, these guys have done an awful lot. I'm just looking through their catalog here, and it's like they've actually done a whole heck of a lot of things. They did they released the Battletoads Smash Hits. I just ordered the special edition of that. The Battletoads one that's both the new reboot on Xbox and the original NES game.
Yeah,
because the NES ones sold out everywhere, and that's like gone for good.
Yeah,
and selling for crazy amounts of money. But this one was still readily available, and it has the full original game soundtrack. So I was like, I don't really care about the Xbox one, but it's
good
not
enough
very
for me.
expensive, and it's good enough for me. I'll take the original one. But yeah, Battletoads was really freaking good. Let's see, what was the band that did this? I can't remember this guy's name. Battletoads. But yeah, I downloaded it when I came home, and it's really freaking good. It's when I was there, I was listening to a couple of pieces like in the background, and I was like, all right, I'm okay with not buying this. I will survive without this. I don't know how much I'll actually listen to it. But now that I'm home, I'm listening to it like, oh man, this is really freaking good.
I really like this.
What the freaking band? I just keep saying, seeing the composed by Vladimir Tugay, but there was like a name for the band, and now I can't find it. But yeah, man, Battletoads Look it up. It's really good. Darkman 007.
Okay.
I think that's it. Darkman. Yeah, because I looked up his Bandcamp, and that's where I picked this up. He also just recently did all the Earthworm Jim soundtrack. The first, like a couple of songs from both 1 and 2, and they're really, really good. Really
nice.
good. So, yeah, Battletoads. That's fantastic. And when I got home from AVGC, my Horizon Chase Turbo vinyl was in the mail. 3 records of Barry Leach Horizon Chase music, including the Senna Forever DLC, which is awesome.
That's wild.
Boy. Yeah.
That's wild that game has 3 vinyls worth of fucking music in it.
And it's all so good. I listened to most of it, and because it's a lot to listen to, but I listened to most of it. It sounds great. The record quality is fantastic. I'm so happy I have it. The packaging's really nice too. So this is a weird one. John has we dug up Lego Dimensions.
Okay.
We did it. We started Lego Dimensions, and that was a difficult thing to do. We rebuilt the portal. That wasn't a problem. The problem was that when I turned on the Wii U to do Lego Dimensions, it was like there's a required update, and it's all your memory. It's most of it.
It's everything.
It's everything that's on here. You got to clean the fridge. So I had to find like an external USB thing that had enough memory, because I don't have a lot of hard drives laying around. So I wound up finding an SD card through a USB connector to download a bunch of my Wii U stuff off of the memory so that I had enough space to do this update. And it seems like all the DLC is now free.
Oh, on Lego?
On Lego Dimensions.
That's cool.
I don't know what exactly it does yet, because I don't have any of the Legos, so
right.
I can't just use those characters, but I guess like I can go to all those worlds eventually. It took hours. Like getting the stuff onto the SD card took like about an hour, and then downloading and installing the update was about another hour. Damn. It was ridiculous. It was just a ridiculous amount of time. And every time you boot it up, it's got to connect to the Lego Dimensions server, which, the Wii U wasn't great with online stuff, so it's like kind of obnoxious. But by default, you know how the Lego games, when you're playing multiplayer, that have that dynamic split screen thing?
Yeah.
So by default, this Dimensions doesn't do that on Wii U. It has one player on the gamepad and one player on the TV. And like,
that's kind of nice.
Theoretically, that's really nice. But this was the first time I ever really noticed what everyone was complaining about, the low resolution on the Wii U gamepad. Because, wow. I've played, Nintendo Land and Rayman and stuff, and it all looks fine. Lego Dimensions is not optimized for the gamepad. Like, the whole first area in Oz, and when you're going through the Wicked Witch's castle, is super dark, and it was impossible to see anything on the Wii U gamepad. It's just not. It just wasn't good enough for it. And this game is it's a technical mess. Like the Wii U version is. It seems like it's barely holding together the entire time playing. It gets super choppy all over the place. We're still having a good time. We've made it through Springfield, and now we're in, I think, the Ninjago world is where we just got to. I think that's the third area.
Sure. I haven't played that in so fucking long, man.
He's having a good time. Like, I didn't realize how involved Karen and I got nowhere in this. We bought this game because we were really excited to play as the doctor and whatnot, and it just seemed like a fun thing, and we just didn't like it because, as I've said before, no matter how many times I try, I just don't like Lego games. I don't think they're fun to play. I'm having enough fun with John that I stick with it. Like, I'd beat all the Lego Jurassic World with him because, he wanted me to. I just don't think they're well-designed games. I do think that they're clever, and all the way you have to move the Legos around on that portal thing, like interactive while playing the game, like what was it? The Wicked Witch would shoot this lightning, and like you had to move all the characters off one side of the portal to the other. Like that physical integration. There's a lot of really
cool ideas.
A lot of really cool ideas. So we've been enjoying it, but it was, God, what a hassle it was to play that damn thing. I'm glad we got it all. I'm glad I'm finally getting some fun out of it. Like, we bought it years ago and never did anything. So here we are, finally getting use out of it. But it's been a trip. Excuse me.
No.
So,
Well, no.
yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. We went to Wizard of Oz World. He didn't really get. He's seen Wizard of Oz, and it wasn't even that long ago, but he didn't recognize it.
Really?
He's like, "Where are we?" It's like, "It's the Yellow Brick Road. We're in Oz." What? We're the Wizard of Oz. Remember that movie? Like, yeah, I remember that movie.
Yellow Brick Road. Apparently not, John.
Oh, okay, I get it. It's just the Wicked Witch looks so different as a Lego, you know? Like, just didn't connect in his mind. He didn't remember the movie that well, but it took a while for him to kind of remember it. Like, the flying monkey started flying around. I was like, "What's that thing?" It's like, "It's the flying monkey." Like, what are you talking about? There's flying monkeys in the Wizard of Oz. You don't remember this? Not really. Okay. So
I argue then that you don't necessarily remember that movie, John.
Not that well.
Maybe need to see
Springfield was funny because he's seen The Simpsons, but not a lot.
Sure.
So he didn't really understand what we were supposed to do. And he's like, "So what's the boss of The Simpsons?" I'm like, "I guess Mr. Burns, but he's more like a literal boss." I don't know who we're going to fight,
makes
but
it
I would
funny.
assume it's going to be something. I'm going to assume it's going to be something Mr. Burns related. And then we wound up fighting the villain from the Lego movie and the Joker. It was like,
yeah.
He was like, "What's the Joker doing here? He doesn't belong here." I'm like, "That's the point, dude."
That's the whole point of the thing, man.
So that was pretty interesting. The integration of Homer and whatnot into that was not. It just seemed weird. It seemed very forced of him being like pressing buttons in the nuclear plant. I don't know. That was a weird level. But now we're in Ninjago. It's like we're explaining Lord of the Rings and Gandalf to him and stuff. It's like, yeah, you're not going to watch Lord of the Rings yet. You'll be bored out of your mind with the first 5 minutes of that movie.
God, it's a boring ass movie.
Yet. I love those movies, but you are not no attention span ready for that yet. No chance.
God, are you excited about the show at all?
I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I'm excited at the prospect of it, but I mean, I don't know. It seems like the kind of thing that I need to see. Like, I have no idea what to expect out of it. Like,
yeah,
The Hobbit was all right. Lord of the Rings trilogy I adore, but there's a lot of content there already. So I don't know what story are you going to tell me that I'm going to particularly care about, and that's what I need to find out. Looks neat. Looks like fantasy. I love fantasy. So show me what you got. Yeah. Same thing with House of the Dragon. I don't know what you're going to do. I have no idea what to expect out of this show, and that's kind of exciting in its own right.
Yeah, see, that one, I'm really just expecting, like, tits and dragons, like, which is what I got the first time, and that's really all I need. You know what I mean? Like, not to be super duper crass about it or anything, but that's what Game of Thrones was. It's tits and dragons. Like, you weren't there for the political intrigue, necessarily.
I mean, I was.
I kind of. But, like, come on.
Was very interested in where the story was going. Then the story shit all over itself. It smeared it all over the walls.
I don't know. I think I might be one of the only people who doesn't hate the ending of that show. I think it's fine.
Didn't when I first watched it. I was along for the ride and just had a good time. And then as soon as I started thinking about it, like the moment I started scrutinizing it, I was like, no, everybody's right. This is fucking stupid. This isn't goddamn. What are you doing? I'm so glad those guys aren't getting work.
Yeah, they're really not.
And what a bunch of assholes. They were like, "We're kind of done with this Game of Thrones thing. We got all these other jobs from our work on Game of Thrones."
Yeah.
And so they just subverting expectations for the sake of subverting expectations. Fuck you, dude. Tell a story.
I do think
Put some thought into it.
I do think it's fascinating that Game of Thrones went from being the biggest fucking deal in the world to something nobody even mentions anymore.
Yeah. And that's just because of the story.
Don't fucking talk about it.
Yeah, like they didn't just not stick the landing. Like they completely fucking missed the landing. They landed on their teeth and shit all over their own heads. Like they even Lost is talked about more than this. Like Game of Thrones just burned every ounce of goodwill it had. It just
really
all
did.
of it.
It's fascinating.
Goddamn shame. But yes, it is quite fascinating.
Like,
and I got one more thing to talk about.
Sorry.
Got one more thing to talk about. I'm looking forward to talking about this for a while. A couple of days after we recorded last week, my Turrican games showed up in the mail.
Ooh.
They're
exciting.
Fantastic.
Are they?
These collections, I hate the way these collections exist. There is no way this should be 2 games. No reason at all other than to get more money. And just like I wrote a whole piece about this on Stone Age Gamer.
It's not the worst reason in the world.
It's
not a great reason.
See the content that's on these discs, it's fucking pathetic. and the fact that these aren't even the first ones from this company on the Switch. Turrican Flashback was already released on Switch, digital and physical, and it has not all the games on it. This one, these collections are so good. They're so well done, except for the fact that it's on 2 different discs. Not discs, cartridges, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what's the breakdown here? Anthology, because I always forget what they are because they make no sense on what's on these things. So the first one has Turrican, Turrican 2, Super Turrican, Super Turrican Director's Cut, and Mega Turrican Score Attack. Not the game Mega Turrican, just a score attack mode for Mega Turrican. Volume 2 has Turrican 3, Mega Turrican Director's Cut, Super Turrican 2, and the score attack mode for Super Turrican 1, which was on the first volume. Mega Turrican and Turrican 3 are effectively the same game. Like, they're different, but they have most of the same content in them. Same thing kind of goes for Super Turrican 1 on Super Nintendo. Like, Super Turrican, Mega Turrican, and Turrican 3 are all kind of 3 different versions of the same game with some differences. Super Turrican 2, totally unique game. The fact that these are on 2 different collections is stupid. And it's just pure cash grab out of that. This could have easily been one collection, and that really bothers me. The Turrican flashback thing bothers the shit out of me. Strictly limited games and in games have been doing this for a little while now. I wrote a whole thing about it. They did this with Space Invaders. They did this with, they're doing it right now with Wonder Boy. And there's a Wonder Boy collection out now. There's another one coming out in November that has like 4 times as many games on it. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I hate that this company is doing this. They're getting these licenses and they're releasing one version to sell a bunch of copies. And then shortly after, they're releasing a newer version that basically replaces that one, but they're not letting anybody know that that's happening. They're just doing 2 different versions of the same thing, one shitty, one better later, and they're charging way too much for it in the first place. The whole thing's gross. That said, the team that worked on these Turrican collections absolutely freaking nailed it. It is exactly the way I've always wanted to play Turrican. I've tried pretty hard to get into these games in the past. I've played, the Genesis version of Turrican because I don't have an Amiga, so here in America, the Genesis version was kind of the best route for me to go for the longest time. Same with Universal Soldier, which was kind of the only real port we got of Turrican 2 on Genesis.
I forget that that's Turrican 2 all the time.
It's freaking weird. Same Mega Turrican on Genesis. I downloaded the Super Turrican games on Virtual Console, and I only know about these games because of Banjo Guayali. He did these great covers of the music, and I was like, this sounds great. This game looks super cool. I'm going to try it, but I've never been able to get into it. Partially because the gun that you can shoot in every direction, the way you control it makes sense based on when it came out, but I've never been able to get the hang of it. Like, you hold down a button and then you press left or right and he'll, move, clockwise or counterclockwise with it, whichever direction you're pressing. And that's never worked for me. It never clicked in my head. I've never been able to pull it off, and I die super fast, and I just don't get it because the camera's zoomed in pretty close, so there's a lot of like super quick kills. There's no damage invincibility. Like you get hit and you just keep getting hit. So if there's a little tiny enemy that stands on your foot for like a second, you're dead. Like it just health drains immediately. Plus, it's kind of exploratory. The areas are very big, and there's absolutely no map. So when they announced that they were reworking the game to include an in-game map, I was like, fucking sold. That's the version I want. I'm so glad I learned about it by accident while looking up the existing Turrican flashback that doesn't have any of these things. But they didn't just stop at just the map. Like, the map is fascinating because you click the right analog stick to bring up the map, and you can zoom out and zoom in. It looks really nice. And it not only shows you the area, it shows you where all the power-ups and bad guys are placed all over the map.
Oh, wow.
It's really, really good in-game map. But what's really wild about it is that you can have that map display kind of on screen the whole time. You can turn on a mode that basically overlays the map with all the power-ups and enemy placements over your screen while you're playing it. Or you can have that map underneath your screen, and so... Because
so you can like hot swap between them?
Well, it's not a widescreen game. So on the bars on the side, you can see the map on either side where it would be black bar as you're moving around. So it kind of expands your field of vision, except the game's not running there. So like the enemies still show up on the edges of the full screen, not on the edges of the widescreen, which is really freaking weird. But what's crazy is that you can then pan out as much as you want. So you can actually make your screen like the size of a postage stamp in the middle of the screen, and then just have the whole map showing and just play like that with this little teeny tiny character and see everything at the same time. It's freaking wild.
That's wild.
You can adjust your controls in a ton of different ways. You can add abilities to like jump while you're in your little morph ball mode that weren't introduced until later versions of the game. You can do all kinds of stuff with the controls. But the best thing is that shoot in any direction thing is mapped to the right analog stick. And it's not a rotary thing anymore. You shoot whichever direction you're pressing.
Nice.
It's perfect.
That's how it should be.
Picture fucking perfect. It is exactly what I've always wanted that to be. So like, just... I can play the game so well. But the extra icing on the cake is the music. The original music is wonderful, and you can play it with the original music all you want. But a few years back, Chris Hulsbeck remastered all of the Turrican soundtracks. And I don't mean just like remastered, he re-recorded them in these amazing 80s reverby synthesizers. They sound incredible. I've been listening to them for ages. And you can use them as the game soundtrack.
Oh, that's very cool.
So you can play with the original graphics perfectly, beautifully emulated, with controls that make all the sense, a rewind feature so the insta-death cheap things that kill you from off-screen, they don't fucking matter. It's something insta-kills you, just rewind real quick, and you can rewind. It's super fast, super precise. Just rewind real quick, and now you know those things are there, so figure out how to shoot up in that corner, and then move on with your day. You can do save states all you want, too, but it's got the map, it's got the music that I would want. It's perfect. I'm absolutely in love with it, and so I can finally experience the game the way I wanted to, and it's everything I wanted it to be. I finished Turrican 1, which was super cool. It's... you know, the games they're not like these unfathomable masterpieces, but
sure,
they're really interesting. They're really neat. And the combination of the way the worlds look and the exploration aspect to it, it's not like Metroidvania where you're getting power-ups that let you explore new areas. It's more like, oh, what's over here? Which way should I be going? What kind of power-ups? How many extra lives are over this way? Like, it's just a lot of fun exploring without any real stakes to it. And then just finding the bosses and going from there. So Turrican 1 was super cool. I'm halfway through Turrican 2, and that is where it's at. That's the one that I always wanted to play, because that's the one that had the music that Ollie covered in it. And I love those new versions that Chris Wilsbeck did. And holy crap, they sound so good playing the games with these versions of the song. So I'm like, I think I'm maybe less than halfway through it because I've been focusing my attention on other things that I have to write reviews for and stuff. But
sure, man,
oh man, it's so good. It's everything I wanted it to be. And I messed around with every version of the game when I first got it, just kind of like poking around and seeing like, all right, what does Turrican 3 look like? What does Super Turrican 2 look like? Because, you know, a lot of the Super Nintendo and Genesis ones, like besides playing on Virtual Console, those cartridges are insanely expensive. So
yeah,
after I finished 2, I'm not 100% sure where I'm supposed to go next, because I believe Mega Turrican for Genesis was the actual next game, and then Turrican 3 was an Amiga port of the Genesis game, and then Super Turrican combines aspects of Turrican and Turrican 2, I think. So I don't know what to do next, but finishing Turrican 2 is like high on my list. I'm over the moon with it. I'm so happy that this exists. I'm so sad that it is limited to these physical copies that are only available through Strictly Limited, and if you've already bought Turrican Flashback, then you're double dipping to get better versions of the same games on the same system from the same company a year later. It's fucking stupid and infuriating, but this is, as far as I know, this is the best way to experience these games, and I'm so happy I have them. They're just great.
That's awesome. My kids. So when we drive around, we usually I usually pass the phone around between like the three of us or the four of us, depending on whether or not Tiff's with us. And we all go like song for song, right? You know, and I'll put on something ridiculous. It's been a lot of Billy Joel lately because of the boys. Like, yeah, I just got to listen to more Billy Joel. Also Jersey. And like Tiff will put on some like just ridiculous. She's like, oh, I'm gonna put on fucking No Scrubs or something like some weird shit. But the kids usually put on video game music, whether it's from stuff that they're like currently playing, or you know, just different things that they're into. Like Katie's been on a real big Sonic music kick and Mega Man. She puts on the Mega Man music a lot. She loves Sheepman's music.
That's a great theme.
It's really good.
Love Sheepman's theme.
But Penn will put on a bunch of different stuff, and she put on something the other day. I was driving them. They were at we had them signed up for summer camp last week. So getting up at 7 a.m. to take them over to camp and whatever. Penn was doing like a film study thing, and Katie was doing baking. But we're driving, and Penn puts on a song, and she's like, I wonder if you'll know this one. And I'm like, I mean, I'm real bad with song names, but, you know, let's see what we got. Fucking driving along, I'm like, what the fuck are you putting Turrican 2 music on? Why do you know what Turrican 2 is? Like, we have never talked about this. Whatever. And she was like, I don't know. Somebody I like on YouTube was like, saying that it was a really good soundtrack, so I went and listened to it, and it's really good. I was like, yeah, it's fucking great. You should listen to Ollie's versions of it. And then we like went on a whole Banjo Guy Ollie kick on the way to camp. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Totally random, though. I was like, what the fuck are you doing putting on Turrican 2? That's a weird thing for you to know about.
It is kind of an odd thing, but I'm glad she does.
Yeah. She's really into it. No interest in playing the game. She was like, nah. I don't think so. I'm just going to listen. Like, all right, do you live the dream?
Well, there it is. The Turrican games finally came out. Finally. And I have them, and they're fucking great. I just
7 years later.
Just wish they were all in one cart. Because seriously, like, you have the score attack for those games on the opposing cartridges. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's weird.
Anyway. All right, we've got a lot more to talk about with the 10, 20, 30, 40, so we should probably get to it. So we're going to take ourselves a quick break, and when we come back, it's 10, 20, 30, 40 time. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, as we all know, discussed ad nauseum on this podcast, really. I'm a lover of art, a true connoisseur, if you will, which is why I subscribe to LaraCraft13 on Twitch.tv. Not only is Ncaa a fantastic artist and all-around great human being, who is well worth spending some of your vast amount of time, downtime with on the internet. I do it. You should do it too. So if you like art and you like Twitch streams, be sure to check out Angie's Twitch stream, LaraCraft13, on Twitch. Give her a subscribe, because that's apparently how we do things on the internet. Smash that bell or whatever.
Smash it.
Smash it.
That's how I do things. I don't know how you do things.
I always am punching my keyboard. I have to buy a lot of keyboards.
Stacks of them. Fat stacks of keyboards.
Stacks on stacks on stacks. No, legit, Ncaa is good people, and she's she's okay. She's all right. No, she's great. She's great. While we record this podcast, I look at my sleepwalker that she drew for me with my bird, with Goose on Sleepwalker's hand. My dearly departed bird. Makes me happy.
Next up, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love Battle Clash for the Super Nintendo. In fact, I've said it again a whole heck of a lot on the Stone Age Gamer YouTube channel this week, where I dedicated an entire video that very few people have watched to the Super Scope and what I consider one of its very best games. I go in depth about what made these games so special to me and how they have more in common with Punch-Out than you might think. Head on over to the Stone Age Gamer YouTube channel and check out why I love Battle Clash. I'd really appreciate it.
Somebody needs to watch these goddamn videos.
The videos have been really picking up steam lately, which is making me really happy. But this one in particular, as I'm making it, I'm putting a lot of effort into editing this one together, and the whole time I'm like, nobody's gonna watch this one. Nobody's gonna click on a video about a random Super Scope game that they don't know or care about. And I couldn't even think of a good enough clickbait title to try and trick people into watching it. I got nothing. I just called it Why I Love Battle Clash and moved on with my day, because that's all I got. I just was super upfront about it. There you go. I love that game, and I think everyone who has the ability to play it should play it. There you go.
There you go. I mean, that's a pretty good sales pitch. Finally, two completely different companies and writers wrote a story with the same title. Bumblebee, The Rescue. The Sparkcast crew previously listened to the UK audio story about him sneaking into a Decepticon cave and committing some theft. Little light B&E. And now they're ready to see, and color, how Bumblebee does some rescuing in this alternate story based on the same title. Did I mention that this was a coloring book? Well, it is. Catch all the coloring madness in Sparkcast episode 63, Bumblebee to the Rescue again, but this time a coloring book adventure. I love the idea of a UK audio story of Megatron just popping up and being like, "Oi, cunts!" Like, whoa, Megatron! Oh wait, it's British, never mind. That's okay.
For all this and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on Geekade.com. Okay, we are back, and it is time for the 10, 20, 30, 40. This is a segment that Dan and I do every month where we talk about important releases from this month, 10, 20, 30, and 40 years ago. And this is a pretty, getting to be a pretty beefy time of year, especially in the 40, which is nice, because the 40s have been pretty quiet for a while now, and now they're starting to pick up. So let's go ahead and jump into the 10s. The 10 years ago in 2012, July 2012, we had absolutely nothing released for the PlayStation 2. Big surprise. PS2 was pretty long in the tooth by then, but it was still technically
but still
an active
nothing.
platform.
That's kind of surprising.
It's been a couple of months since we've had a PS2 game. The last PS2 game we saw was in March.
Yeah.
And there are going to be 2 more in October. So we're not going to have any PS2 next month either. But you know what? It's still an active platform. It's still hanging in there. It's still doing its thing, as it were.
It was still selling very well.
That's right. So let's move on to PS3. PS3 had not a great month. Just looking down the list here, we're looking at Frogger Hyper Arcade Edition, Dyad, Foosball 2012, NCAA Football 13, something called Malicious, Quantum Conundrum, Rainbow Moon, Summer Stars 2012, Starhawk, I remember that being a thing, Risen 2, The Expendables 2, The Game, Bellator MMA Onslaught, and Test Drive Ferrari Racing Legends.
You were not kidding. That is not a great month.
That is a whole lot of not interesting stuff. Sorry, my microphone's in a weird place.
Starhawk was like supposed to be a thing, right?
Yeah, I don't think it actually was a thing, but I remember it being a hyped up game. Starhawk PS3. Which one was that? I can picture the box. Oh wait, no, that's not the box I was thinking of.
No, you're thinking of whatever.
Something like that. Warhawk, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell was Starhawk then? I don't know.
No,
Looks
Starhawk,
like a PS3 game.
God, man, I'm looking it up too. Yeah, it was.
You're 100% right. I was thinking of Warhawk. That's the one.
Yeah, I know. I know. Everybody's thinking of that. Yeah, this was like a Sony published thing too, wasn't it?
It looks that way, but I have no recollection of this game. Like, none at all.
I think this was another of the attempt, and I could be way, way off on this, and if I am, like, please feel free to, like, bash me in the comments or whatever. I think this was yet another attempt at, like, Halo killing.
This is a third-person shooter.
Yeah.
No.
Or was this the Gears of War attempt? I don't remember.
Could be.
Yeah.
Got decent reviews. This got a 77 Metascore, so
yeah,
it's not bad. But it was clearly forgettable because I don't remember a damn thing about it, and I can't remember anybody talking about it. So let's see how the Xbox 360 stood up. And 360 had a better month. There was definitely at least one game on here that is important and a lot of crossover, but we also have the Test Drive Ferrari, the Bellator MMA Onslaught, Spelunky hit the Xbox 360 on Xbox Live Arcade. That's a big one.
That's a damn good game.
Frogger Hyper Arcade Edition, Ice Age Continental Drift.
Oh, what a good game.
Classic.
Of all the Ice Age masterpieces, that is like the masterpiece.
Well, last month was Madagascar 3 on every platform.
Yeah,
we're about to hear that Ice Age Continental Drift name a bunch of times. NCAA Football 13, Babel Rising, the Sky's the Limit, Quantum Conundrum, Connect Playfit, Dungeon Fighter Live, Mars Rover Landing Connect, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. That's the one that was terrible, right?
Yes.
Racketeer, which was another Kinect game, and Risen 2. So Spelunky came out.
Spelunky is such a good game. Are you a Spelunky fan, Chris? I
would be if I played it. I have not tried it yet. I'm a big fan of Spelunker, which was that game's inspiration in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I've always meant to try Spelunky. I've just never gotten around to it for some reason, but I'd like to.
It's good. It's hard. But, like, it's hard in like a completely fair, like the way
Spelunker
games should be. Yeah.
Not a great month so far.
No.
It's like a whole lot of, and NCAA Football 13, I guess, is a thing. But outside of that, let's see if the Wii can do any better. Spoiler alert, it cannot. We've got Let's Create Pottery.
Man. Oh, man, I do love creating pottery.
Summer Stars 2012, Frogger Hyper Arcade Edition, and you guessed it, Ice Age Continental Drift.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, over on the Nintendo DS...
Who the fuck makes a pottery game?
I don't know. Let's create pottery. It was a WiiWare game.
Let's not do
let's
that.
Not say we did. The DS hit hard this month. The DS still rocking. Not the 3DS, the regular old DS still kicking along. With just a mountain of garbage.
Of shovelware.
We've got Topo Loco, which is a puzzle game. 3-2-1 Words Up. Jewel Link, Legend of Atlantis. Candle Root. Ace Mathician, which is like a math magician. My Amusement Park and Digging for Dinosaurs pack.
Ooh.
Petite Computer. Rabby Labby 2. Tofu Collection.
That was
Jewel
so
Master,
much better than Rabby Labby 1. Don't you
Right.
fucking undersell that.
Huge improvement. Jewel Master, Cradle of Persia, Decathlon, and Ice Age Continental Drift.
Oh, thank God.
What a pile of... this is just... all of it is shovelware for DSiWare. Except Ice Age, which is just like your regular, retail shovelware. All the rest of this was just garbage shovelware on DSiWare, which is like, what the hell?
Man, Nintendo, not for nothing, Nintendo was really bad with the shovelware during, the Wii and fucking
Well, they
DSi
still are.
shit.
Take a look at the Switch eShop. It's like shovelware galore.
Yeah, it's weird.
Ugh.
It's weird.
It is weird. It makes it hard to look through the eShop. We're like, okay, what games are coming out? Garbage, 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 garbage. Oh, look, something that looks interesting. But it's buried under 13 tons of...
Garbage, garbage, Portal 2, garbage, garbage.
Fireman Calculator Simulator 2022. What the hell?
What?
Stop
it.
it.
It's
3DS did better. 3DS did a bit better. 3DS got Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy, which is pretty cool. Family Tennis 3D, Akari by Nikolai, Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure. That's another good one. I never played it, but I heard it was very good. Sweet Memories Blackjack, Johnny Kung Fu, Heroes of Ruin, Masio by Nikolai, Phantom Thief Stina, Dot Runner Complete, Planet Crashers, One Piece Cruise SP2, and A Port of Mist.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a ton of shovelware. Oh, and Ice Age Continental Drift. Sorry. That hit that too. Sorry, forgot about that one. So, Theater Rhythm, Heroes of Ruin, and Rhythm Thief were legit games. That's 3 solid games. And then Ice Age, of course, was everywhere. And A Port of Mist, you can't, of course, why not? It's not, you're not breaking the bank on 3DS on that, but still.
Sure.
Mist is one of those things. It's a name. And then the rest of it was all just schlock, shovelware stuff, but still not bad. In comparison to what the other platforms have been so far, 3DS, I think, is the clear winner so far, just from Theater Rhythm alone.
Yeah, for sure.
Theater Rhythm and Rhythm Thief, those two kind of put the 3DS way over the top right now. The only other platforms we have to hit this month are PSP and Vita. Let's see if either of them can catch up. The old PSP still kicking with Arcade Pool, Time Soldiers, Gang Wars, Wizorb, and Growlancer Wayfarer of Time.
Nope.
That's going to be a big fat no.
It's going to be a no for me, dog.
And then the Vita somehow doing even worse with Hustle Kings, Crazy Table Pack, Foosball 2012, and Puddle.
I
This
don't
was
understand.
a shit month.
I don't
10 years
understand
ago, this
Yeah.
was terrible.
how they fucked up the Vita so bad.
I don't either. And I get it's July, but think about this month in gaming.
Well, we talked about it. We talked about it last month with which was 2 weeks ago now at this point. But this is a good time for mobile platforms.
It is, yeah. But even thinking about like the stuff that we've gotten this month, like wasn't Ninja Turtles this month? Like
yeah,
the
I'm getting
Turrican collections
Stray
that
tomorrow.
we just got. Like yeah, Stray's coming out tomorrow. Like
Unpacking.
it hasn't been a bad time for games right now. There's a lot of decent games coming out now, but 10 years ago, holy crap, this was just crap.
Yeah, that's just horrendous.
3DS was the clear winner July 2012, and that wasn't even amazing. Theater Rhythm is really cool, though. So let's see if 2002 did any better. Good old 2002. The PlayStation 1, still technically an active platform, had no releases this month, but does have 4 releases next month, so something to look forward to. But yes. Oh, wait. Nope. Sorry, I'm looking at June. Hold on. I actually do have releases for this month. I found a new website to help me get some release dates on a couple of things. So I've been able to do this a little bit more thoroughly. So PlayStation 1, still rocking with Delta Force Urban Warfare, Gundam Battle Assault 2, C-12 Final Resistance, and Stuart Little 2. Granted, none of these are exactly great games, but this is the...
Stuart Little 2...
There's a movie tie-in. I know people liked the Gundam Battle Assault games. Like, this is the year of our Lord 2002, and it's PlayStation 1 we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Impressive that they even got four releases in that month, even if they are all shovelware. N64 got a fat lot of nothing. Next month will be the final N64 release, so, yeah. N64 is now going on... it's been a couple of months since we've had an N64 game.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. So let's see. The main platforms happening right now: PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. And it's pretty light, not going to lie to you. We're pretty light all around, but not bad on any of the platforms. Not great. PS2 did okay. NCAA Football 2003, Hidden Invasion, Sega Sports Tennis, which is always a good one, and Mark of Cree.
Oh my god, I fucking love Mark of Cree so much.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's not a bad month.
Have you ever played Mark of Cree?
Not for very long. I thought it was a really interesting looking game, though. I played a little bit of it in my store, and I never really put any time into it at home. But it looked neat.
It is definitely something that I think would do just so well with like a remaster of it, because it is a hyper-violent Disney cartoon. Like, if you like Samurai Jack and that sort of stuff, like, this is right up your alley, because it had, like, these really crazy stealth kills and shit, but the gameplay was really good. It was such an interesting mechanic, too, where as the enemies would appear on the field, you would rotate the right analog stick around, right? I know you know this, but for anybody who doesn't know, you would rotate the right analog stick around, and it would assign an enemy or groups of enemies that were kind of clustered together to the different buttons on the controller. So if you had like 9 guys on the screen at one time, maybe 4 of them were in a group on the left-hand side of the screen. So you would, as you move the right analog stick, you kind of sweep it around in an arc, and those 4 guys would be assigned the square button. And then the guy that was further away would be assigned the triangle button. You know, there are 2 guys that would get assigned triangle, and then 2 guys would get assigned circle. And then as you made your way in the combat, when you hit those buttons, you started attacking in that direction. And it was just such a cool, like, just an interesting way to handle multiple enemy combat. And it worked really, really well. I was just such a fucking cool game.
How was the sequel, Rise to Kasai?
I was really good. It was really good. It didn't do enough. So like, I really liked it, but I also really loved the first one. It didn't do enough to innovate, to really like stand out as like, oh, this is so much better. That, you know, it felt more like an expansion than a sequel.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Whereas like, you look at something like God of War to God of War 2, on the PS2 was like, oh my god, this is so much crazier. It's so much bigger. I didn't even think it could get bigger than the first God of War, but you did so much ridiculous stuff in God of War 2. Like, man, that's wild. Like, whereas you're playing Rise of the Kasai, and it's like, I mean, yeah, this is really cool. It's kind of the same thing, except I'm a girl now. It's still great,
Mm-hmm. Not as great as it could have been.
Yeah.
Or that
Fuck, I love that game, though.
But still, that's not a bad month. Sega Sports Tennis is a winner, too. Always is.
Yo, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Xbox had Bruce Lee, Quest of the Dragon, Mike Tyson Boxing, NCAA 2003, Crazy Taxi 3, Aggressive Inline, Enclave, Totaled, and Gunmetal.
Gunmetal was cool, right?
I don't remember Gunmetal. I remember people liking Enclave, but not like a lot of them. Crazy Taxi 3 is neat because I was part of that whole like, all right, the Xbox we're gonna be like Xbox is gonna be like Dreamcast 2. So
yeah,
there's Toe Jam 3 and Crazy Taxi 3 and Panzer Dragoon Orta but yeah, Crazy Taxi 3 was pretty neat. NCAA Football 2003. I don't really have a lot to say about any of the rest of them. I know people seem to like Aggressive Inline, but not like a lot. It was just like one of those popular-ish things at the time that everybody picked up for cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gunmetal's got a 9 out of 10.
Well, then I guess Gunmetal was pretty cool.
I thought people liked this one.
Yeah, I don't remember it very well. The GameCube, on the other hand, had kind of a piss-poor month. We had NCAA Football 2003, UFC Throwdown, and Aggressive Inline, and that was it.
Yeah, it's not a good month, man.
No heavy hitters for the GameCube that month. Nothing from Nintendo at all, so that's a letdown. And their handhelds did not fare much better. The Game Boy Color actually didn't have anything. We missed last month, though. Last month was Shantae on Game Boy Color.
Oh, yeah, that's like huge.
Yeah, it's one of the last Game Boy Color games. And it made absolutely zero impact when it launched.
Yeah.
But it's historically now one of those things, and it always reminds me of the time when I worked at the Toys R Us in Queens, and we had a whole bunch of copies of Shantae for Game Boy Color, brand new on our wall that nobody was buying, and I was thrilled the day they finally told us we could clearance them out at $5 a piece, and I dumped them all into a bin, and I didn't buy a single goddamn one of them.
Which is really actually surprising for you.
Yeah, I should have, but I just wasn't interested.
Even still, that's surprising for you.
Yeah, I could.
You have a lot of shit that you weren't interested in that you still have.
I mean, I was living in Brooklyn at the time, so I didn't have anywhere to keep anything, so...
Sure.
Makes sense.
Oh, Brooklyn.
But that's that's that. Let's see. And Game Boy Advance had Triple X. That's it.
Yeah. It's not great.
I never saw those movies.
Oh God, they're bad.
They didn't look like my thing. So
yeah, they're definitely not.
I'm okay not having seen them.
I mean, I love Vin Diesel as much as the next guy, but he's not real good at the acting thing.
Who did they replace him with? Was it Ice Cube?
Sure. Maybe.
Wasn't there like a fourth or a third Triple X movie where they replaced Vin Diesel with someone else entirely?
If you say so, I will believe you. I have no idea.
Well, that's 2002. PS2
not
wins
great.
that.
Yeah,
PS2 wins that for sure.
PS2 definitely wins. Like, Marker Cree is not just a very good game. It's original. It's different. Like... yeah, that game's fucking awesome.
Let's see how let's see the 30. Let's head back to the 30 where we're looking at NES, Genesis, TurboGrafx 16, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy. Technically, Lynx, Game Gear, and PC and arcade are out there, but finding specific dates for Game Gear and Lynx is nigh impossible. I can't even narrow that stuff down to a month.
Yeah.
I know there's people out there who are figuring this stuff out. I do not know who those people are. So if anybody has a good link that can show me where I can get the exact dates for that kind of stuff, I'd appreciate it. That'd be great. I'd love to know it, but in the meantime...
Yeah, we'd love to talk about it. You know?
So in the meantime, for this month, for July of 1992, I'm just covering NES, Genesis, TurboGrafx, Neo Geo, Super Nintendo, and Game Boy. So let's start with NES, which had Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Dragon Strike, Baseball Stars 2, The Blue Marlin, Defenders of Dynatron City, and Greg Norman's Golf Power.
Oh, fucking Greg Norman. Yes. Love that guy.
I know, not the strongest month I've ever seen.
No, Baseball Stars is cool.
Yeah, Baseball Stars 2 is cool.
I like Baseball Stars.
You know,
it's fun.
People who like fishing games liked the Blue Marlin. I know that was a somewhat popular game, but yeah, not really doing it for me. Let's see how Genesis is. Genesis had Arch Rivals, Atomic Runner, Dragon's Fury, Tasmania, and Wheel of Fortune.
Dragon's Fury. What is Dragon's Fury?
And I know Arch Rivals is cool as heck.
I was never huge into Arch Rivals. I was always a fucking what's the other one? Double Dribble. I know they're completely different games, but
I always had some fun with it. Dragon's Fury is like the pinball game, right?
Genesis.
Yeah, it's the sort of sequel to Devil's Crush.
Yes, this one is really good.
Yeah.
I like this.
Dragon's Fury is a winner.
I thought
Good
that's
job,
what it
Genesis.
was, but there was just a the PlayStation Store just added one of those arcade archives dragon shooters, and I got confused. Yeah, Dragon's Fury is cool. Like this really interesting, like, weird pinball game thing that happened over a couple of years, like on the TurboGrafx and the Genesis. It was really awesome.
Yeah, it was Devil's Crush and whatnot. This is pretty cool games. Tasmania is a pretty good one, too. Not that I'm like... I didn't love the game, but there's no denying this is a really good-looking Genesis game.
It really is.
Really, really excellent animation. And it was pretty popular.
The popularity of the Looney Tunes characters at this time was very strange.
Well, I mean, Nickelodeon had the reruns, you know. Nickelodeon was pretty popular around this time, and Nickelodeon had been running Looney Tunes, like, constantly. And they're timeless, you know. They're fucking great.
No, I don't disagree, but, like, this was at the time when we were getting, like, for some reason in my elementary and middle school, Marvin the Martian was, like, the fucking height of cool shit. And everybody was rocking the Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck wearing backwards clothes on, like, the really oversized
really
t-shirt.
Weird.
Like, that whole thing, that's what I'm saying. Like, this whole period was really strange. It was really strange.
Tasmania on Super Nintendo is, like, not only a completely different game from the Genesis one, but, like, a really weird game.
I don't know that I've ever even played it.
It's from Sunsoft, and it's, like, 3D. It's like a behind the Taz... almost like a racing game. It's so bizarre.
Behind the Taz.
Anyways, so yeah, not a bad month for Genesis.
No.
TurboGrafx 16 and Neo Geo each had one release. TurboGrafx had Lords of the Rising Sun, and Neo Geo had something called Androdunos. I don't know either of these games.
Lords of the Rising Sun is cool. Androdunos. I feel like I know that. Why do I know that? I might not know that. Lords of the Rising Sun was like a fucking, like, strategy game, right? Like a military strategy kind of thing, like a Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
I have absolutely no idea.
Which I know is not your favorite shit. Androdunos.
Beats me, man.
How do you spell that?
Was it Androdunos? Androdunos? Androdunos.
Andro.
This is a shooter. Go figure.
Oh.
Scrolling shooter. Looks neat.
Okay.
Looks like scrolling shooter for Neo Geo.
I feel like I've played it. Like, the name sounds very familiar.
Does not to me. Well, while you contemplate Androdunos, over on the Super Nintendo, we had Clue, Spanky's Quest, Race Driving, and Street Fighter II: The World Warrior.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of your default winner of this month. Street Fighter II: The World Warrior on Super Nintendo was nothing short of a revolution. It was the first home port.
Really was.
It was the first home port of the game that basically took over arcades and revitalized them. And goodness gracious, what a port it was. Like, really, really, it's the first place I had ever seen Street Fighter. First place I had ever played a fighting game. And it's amazing. It was just such a massive, massive thing at the time. And kicking it off on home consoles was like out of this world. Just unbelievable.
It was my early birthday present. I got this when it came out with a Super Nintendo, because I still had, like, I was still mostly playing my TurboGrafx and whatnot. But Street Fighter 2 came out, and I was vacationing with my grandparents when they lived in Florida. And I remember, like, seeing a TV commercial or something like that. Like, I think I saw the TV commercial on, like, an episode of Power Rangers that I taped, because this was right around the time. I could be getting the years wrong, but I think this was, like, the same month that the White Ranger debuted. So, like, I was fucking taping that on the VCR, and, like, a commercial popped up for Street Fighter 2. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get this. And my grandmother called my mom and was like, this is what he wants for his birthday. And she was like, well, you know, his birthday's in October, right? And she was like, look, asshole, I'm going to buy it for him now, and then this will be his birthday present. And we went to a Walmart in fucking Cape Coral, Florida, and got that shit the next day. And I remember calling my buddy Nick Louie, who lived down the road from me. And I was like, dude, we're never playing Genesis at your house again. I'm getting fucking Street Fighter 2 extra controllers. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. When do you get home? It's going to be so fucking great. And we did, man. We just played that game forever. We used to have tons of people just come over to my house and just fucking lives or levels through that game, man. I still set up my buttons on the controller the way that I set it up on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, me too. That the heavies on the L and the R, that's just like...
No, that's not... See, that's not the way I did it. I did... L is my light kick. R is the medium kick. Y, I guess, on the Super Nintendo would have been the heavy kick. X was the light punch. B was the medium punch. A was the heavy punch.
Wow, you're insane.
That's the way I have it set up. And I still set it up that way. And I am garbage at a console Street Fighter game if I cannot set up my buttons that way.
I saw this at my cousin's house, and they always had the games before I did. And when I went to their house and like, you got to try this Street Fighter game out, I immediately gravitated towards Blanca because it was weird and green. And they actually let me borrow it because, like, they...
And you like charge characters for some weird reason.
I do like charge characters. I love Guile. But yeah, they let me borrow Street Fighter, like, pretty quick. Because, yeah, they didn't really care about video games that much. They just got all of them because their parents bought them all kinds of shit. So, but yeah, I got to borrow Street Fighter 2, and I was just like, the first time of getting a Bison being like, what the hell is wrong with this game? It's cheap as shit ever, but man, Street Fighter 2.
Game is a revelation.
Nothing short of a revelation. So let's see. The only other platform we got left is Game Boy, which wasn't bad. Jeep Jamboree, Night Quest, Prophecy, The Viking Child, Spanky's Quest, Ultima Runes of Virtue. But really what we're about here is the original Wave Race and Yoshi.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, like, you know, a couple shovelware titles before then, but Wave Race is a pretty fun racing game. I mean, Waver 64 was really where the series took off, but the original is pretty solid. And Yoshi was a pretty decent puzzle game. So, yeah. Not bad.
Not bad.
Solid
not
1992.
Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, not Street Fighter 2. Super NES hands down wins this month. Just because Street Fighter 2 changed the world.
It did.
It did.
It really, really did.
And now we travel back 40 years in the past to July of 1982. So the arcades got Joust.
That's big.
That's big. Joust is great. Love me some Joust.
I love Joust.
Colecovision launched. It launched at the very, very end of July, and it launched with one game, as far as I can tell. And it just had Donkey Kong, which seems weird to me, but I was able to track down dates for most of the rest of the ColecoVision stuff this year, and I think it just survived on Donkey Kong for about a month. And then, because it was July 29th or something when it launched, and then nothing hit in August, and then there were 3 more games in September. Least from what I've been able to gather together. But the ColecoVision version of Donkey Kong, kind of a big deal. It was the closest.
That was how I first played it.
It was the closest that anyone had seen to an arcade, quote unquote, perfect Donkey Kong. This was leagues above what was available in 2600, which Donkey Kong also hit 2600 this month. And the disparity between those two versions was night and day. And there's rumors out there that was intentional, that because Coleco handled the 2600 port as well. And the 2600 wasn't exactly a powerhouse, but it was definitely capable of more than what they did with that Coleco did with Donkey Kong. There's rumors out there that Coleco intentionally made the 2600 version cruddy to make the ColecoVision one look better by comparison. So, yeah, I don't know, but
I'm not sure.
It seems weird to me that it was just a Donkey Kong machine for a solid month when it launched, but things worked differently back then. Like release dates and everything weren't as big a thing. So I don't really know for sure, but I trust this website. It was Kevin Bunch's Atari archive thing or whatever, where he's found through magazine articles and newspapers and trade magazines and stuff, estimated month release dates for several games. And yeah, it seems that it was just launched with Donkey Kong, and we didn't get any actual new games until September. The Intellivision had, as far as I could tell, a single release this month, which was Frog Bog. Not a game I'm familiar with. There were a lot of frog games back in this time, though.
There were. Everybody loves a frog, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's Frogs and Flies. There's Frogger. Frog Bog looks a lot like Frogs and Flies, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Here, little frog on a lily pad, you jump, and you try to eat flies.
That's living the dream right there.
Frogs and Flies, 2600. I think they are, in fact, the same game. Yeah, Frogs and Flies and Frog Bog are the same thing. Because Frogs and Flies was M Network, which was also Mattel. That was Mattel's Atari 2600 label. So, yeah, Frogs and Flies hit the 2600, not this month. But, yeah, Frog Bog. That's a pretty decent game. I like that one.
Yeah, Frogs and Flies is cool.
Yeah. The Odyssey 2, I actually found some release dates for Odyssey 2, and the Odyssey 2 did have a release this month, which was Pickaxe Pete.
Everybody loves Pickaxe Pete.
Yeah, this is, what is this series? Pickaxe Pete is related to, come on, brain, you can do this, Miner 2049er.
Okay.
So this is like the sequel to Miner 2049er. I never played these ones. Never did that. Right? One of the best games for Odyssey 2. At least I think that's what this is. Oh, I might be thinking of something else. Miner 2049er.
I don't know that I've ever played it, but I don't know that I haven't.
I just learned about the sequel to Miner 2049er. Ooh. Yeah, I might be getting a little bit confused here. I know there's something with the character from Miner 2049er. Who's the character? Bounty Bob. That's right. I'm mixing up Pickaxe Peak with Bounty Bob. Bounty Bob had the sequel to Miner 2049er. Sorry, anybody who had to listen to me figure that out. So Pickaxe Pete, yeah, I guess I'm genuinely not familiar with this game. It looks kind of neat. A little stick figure with a pickaxe. You're running around trying to hit dots or something? What are you trying to do in this game? I don't get it. Looks neat though. Don't have a lot of experience with Odyssey 2 games. Well, that's kind of cool. Anyway, the real reason you're here for the 40 is for the Atari 2600 stuff. And we're finally at a point, we started it last month where Atari 2600 was really starting to pick up. So this was a pretty good month for 2600. Atari released Demons to Diamonds and Math Grand Prix. Demons to Diamonds is cool. Math Grand Prix is stupid. Coleco did Donkey Kong, like we mentioned before. iMagic did Atlantis. We got Astro Blast, Super Challenge Baseball, and Super Challenge Football from M Network. Gangster Alley and Planet Patrol from Spectravision. And Space Attack was another one from M Network, which may be this month. I couldn't really confirm that one. But the biggest one, at least for me, besides Demons to Diamonds and Astro Blast, would have to be Frogger. Came to 2600. The Parker Brothers version of Frogger, which was great.
It's so good.
I know there's a better version of Frogger that was released way later on the 2600, I think.
But still.
I played the Parker Brothers version. I played the heck out of it. Obviously it's not the arcade game, but I think it's a really great port. It's a super fun game to play. But I just not outside of that, like Atlantis is a really good one. I played the garbage out of Astro Blast. That game is so good, and it's so much better than the Astro Smash, which is the Intellivision version. Mm-hmm. I think the 2600 game is way better than Astro Smash. It just moves so much faster and smoother than the Intellivision game, and playing it with a joystick instead of that stupid disc is also like pretty big, pretty big improvement. But yeah, that's good. I always love the artwork to Demons and Diamonds. I've never actually tried the game. Demons to Diamonds is such a neat name for a game, and that artwork was so weird. I always wanted to play this one, and like it's not like I don't have the opportunity to. It's just like it looked confusing to me, but it always had a certain allure to it, and I really should just get around to sitting down and trying to give it a proper shot. But yeah, that was a great month for 2600. Demons and Diamonds, Donkey Kong, Atlantis, Astro Blast, and Frogger alone are great. What about Super Challenge Baseball? What did that look like on 2600? Because I think to this point, the only baseball game was Home Run. And that's just extremely rudimentary. Super Challenge Baseball 2600. So this was M Network, and that was kind of Intellivision's thing, was about how much better their sports games were than the 2600 sports games, which were, kind of hilarious by comparison. And yeah, just looking at this one, like a quick look at a YouTube video of it, you can already see that it's just a massive, just as far as detail is concerned. There's fielders, there's pitching and batting. It looks like, it's a 2600, so it's still pretty abstract, but it does look like there's a lot more to it than Home Run, Home Run was fun, but it was like extremely simple. I don't know.
I think I lost you there, Chris.
Oh yeah, my internet went kind of weird for a while there. How you doing?
I think I lost you there for a sec.
Okay, am I back now?
Yeah, there we go.
Good. There it is.
Much better.
Yeah, my internet just took a shit, but it's back.
Okay.
I said a bunch of stuff about the game.
Yeah, I was trying to piece it, like I'm sitting here like, fuck, I'm just gonna chuckle maybe. So I don't know.
Same thing I said about Super Challenge Baseball holds true to Super Challenge Football. It's not perfect, but it is a massive improvement over Atari's initial offerings. Just visually, it just looks more like the sport.
Yeah.
Because football on 2600 is hilarious.
It
Atari
really
600 football is like...
It's not great.
What the hell? My sister and I did used to play it, but we didn't.
Oh, sure.
We never really figured out what we were doing. It was like, this is just neat and it makes some fun noises. But the Super Challenge Football looks like a real attempt at making a football game on the 2600.
Yeah.
There would be a couple more football games after this as well, but these M Network Super Challenge sports games for 2600 are pretty solid, all things considered.
I never got huge into the sports games on the older consoles just because I just couldn't suspend my disbelief that much. Because you're right, like there were ones that looked better, but like it still doesn't look like the sport, you know what I mean? It was just so, I don't know, that I always had a hard time with those, and I don't really know why. I just never really got into them.
Have you ever seen Super Football for Atari 2600? I'm
sure I have.
I always thought that was such an impressive looking game. They actually made an attempt at doing like a kind of a 3D view of the field.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really work. But damn if they didn't try. I'm looking for Super Football, not Real Sports Football. What was Real Sports Football on there? There's one football game that had Real Sports Football is similar to this Super Challenge one, where it was like a side-by-side view. It's a little more zoomed in. The players are a bit more detailed. I think, if memory served me right, the Super Challenge Football was a little bit more just fun to play, generally speaking. It seemed to make a little bit more sense, but I can't remember when Real Sports Football came out in comparison to Super Challenge Football, but I'm pretty sure this was the only other football game to this point on the platform, and same with Super Challenge Baseball. So this was a move in the direction of getting better sports content on the 2600. Which, while those games weren't great, they were still kind of fun, and man, the artwork on them is great. I actually have the artwork for football hanging up on my wall right above my desk. Because I just always love that picture, and that's from Tim Lapatino's Art of Atari Art Book, and it's one of those, which is such a cool book. It really is. Like the Art of Atari book itself is a masterpiece, but then they did that poster book, and I framed Asteroids, Football, Star Raiders, Video Pinball, Missile Command, and Millipede out of that book, and they make me happy every day. This is some of my favorite artwork. And like, as not somebody who particularly cares about football, like just looking at that artwork, it's like, yeah, I gotta hang this one up. It's just so darn cool. It's a very, very good painting. But yeah, that about wraps it up for the 10, 20, 30, 40. 1982 was a pretty good month for the Atari 2600. Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad at all. Not bad, and it's only getting better from here. Next month we got Pitfall. So next month's almost nothing for anybody else, but there was a couple of really big hits in the arcade, and you got Pitfall and Sneak and Peek. Oh, I made a Sneak and Peek reference. That was next month, not this month. My apologies. Do it again next month. I'll do this. I'll see if I can remember to do the same joke next month. But that's it. That's the 10, 20, 30, 40 for July 2022, and that's going to be our show. Join us next week when Dan and I will be joined for a special interview. Yes, Dan and I are interviewing somebody else. And we're going to be sitting down for a chat with Stephen Frost from Digital Eclipse. We're going to be talking about the upcoming Atari 50 collection, the Cowabunga collection, and who knows what else. Should be a lot of fun. So if you have questions for somebody who works at Digital Eclipse, let us know, because I am very excited to talk to somebody about all the great stuff that company has done. But let us know quickly, because you'll hear this on Friday, and then we're interviewing him the next day. Yeah, so I'm probably going to bring this up in the Discord, see if anybody else has any questions. But yeah, we're going to be doing this pretty rapid fire. Hence why we're doing the 10, 20, 30, 40 today. But that is it. We are on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes. You'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, the Geekade Patreon, which helps us keep the show running week after week, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks, and we'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.